Now, it's time for the main event. It's no secret that John-Riel Casimero wants a piece of the two other world champions in his division, namely Nonito Donaire and Naoya Inoue. Ngayon, marami nagtatanong, sino ba ang karapat-dapat na makaharap ni Cuadro Alas? How will it play out if Casimero goes up against Donaire? What are his chances against the monster from Japan? We will try to answer all of those questions in our segment called Pick Your Poison. Each matchup will be discussed per category. To cover all things in these two potential bouts for John-Riel Casimero, we have 4 categories. First is what went wrong. In this category, we talk about the history, the drama, and even the controversies between the two boxers. Head-to-head, what are the chances of John-Riel Casimero against Nonito Donaire or Naoya Inoue? Visibility is the third one. Is it the best fight to make for John-Riel Casimero at the moment? And the fourth one, alternatives. If not Donaire or Inoue, what are the options for John-Riel Casimero? Mr. Dennis Principe chose Nonito Donaire, while yours truly chose the Japanese knockout artist. Now, let's hear it from Chief Dennis. Chief, I'm handing it over to you.
What went wrong? Alam naman natin na this is a fight that is supposed to happen last August, but I think everybody knows, no, na kaya hindi natuloy itong laban na to. Everyone involved was ready, to make this fight happen, except when pumasok yung, shall I say, pride ni Nonito Donaire Jr., no, because he felt na Casimero, short of saying, no, na hindi kailangan ng boxing si Casimero because of his attitude, and perhaps that's the main reason kung bakit hindi natuloy yung laban na to. But you can't blame Donaire if meron siyang ganong kumbaga advocacy, no. But I still believe na dapat pa rin matuloy, no, itong laban na to. Head-to-head breakdown, magandang laban to, very intriguing actually. You have a veteran fighter, maraming matitindi na kanalaban si Donaire. Now, will that be an advantage or a drawback? An advantage because experience-wise, malaking bagay, but drawback, baka naman nabugbog na si Donaire. And I really believe na both fists, mas palakas si Casimero, but Donaire's left hook is legendary. So, dun babagsak yung intriguing aspect of this fight. Feasibility, is this the best fight para kay John-Riel Casimero? Definitely. Any fight that involves Nonito Donaire Jr. right now will definitely be a big fight. You know, talagang yung market ni Donaire right now, bumalik, no? Sa dating pagiging superstar after that spectacular victory against Nordin Ubali. So definitely, Casimero versus Donaire, it's a big fight for John-Riel Casimero. Now, if this doesn't happen, wala akong nakikita right now na masasabing big names, but if hindi makuha ni Donaire, or rather ni Casimero, no, itong Donaire or Inoue, I believe that any Mexican fighter will be a good tune-up or interim fight for Casimero before he aims for Donaire and Inoue. Should talks among them will not end up fruitful.
All right, Chief Dennis, maraming salamat. Now, for my part, it's going to be Naoya Inoue versus John-Riel Casimero. John-Riel Casimero and Naoya Inoue were supposed to fight on April 25, 2020 in a title unification. It made sense at that time because Casimero was coming off a shock victory over Zolani Tete. Meanwhile, Inoue was fresh from his victory over Nonito Donaire in the World Boxing Super Series. Unfortunately, it was called off. The primary suspect was, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. MP Promotions tried to rebook the fight, I believe 3 or 4 times, but on the last proposed bout time frames, border restrictions implemented by Japan at the time prevented Inoue from taking the fight. This compelled the two to move on. Casimero fought Duke Maika and defeated the boxer from Ghana by a third round TKO. Meanwhile, Inoue faced Jason Maloney on October 31, 2020, and he knocked out the Australian in the 7th round. People thought after those two fights, this is it, pansit. But unfortunately, the IBF intervened and spoiled the fun as the IBF mandated Inoue to face a Filipino boxer not named Janriel Casimero, but a boxer named Michael Dasmariñas. So Inoue went on to stop Dasmariñas in the 3rd round of that fight. Sa kabilang banda, itong si Janriel Casimero ay parang pumunta ng Pangasinan at nag-island hopping. Kasi from Rigondo to Nonito Donaire, then nauwi ulit kay Guillermo Rigondo. Casimero won that fight by a split decision. And after that, he called out 2 names. At isa sa mga yon ay si Naoya Inoue. By the looks of it, Inoue had enough of the antics of Janriel Casimero. Isama mo na dito yung Chinese-Japanese turtle na claim niya kay Naoya Inoue. So, ano ba ang pwedeng mangyari pag itong dalawa ang nagtapat? We don't have to be very surprised if Naoya Inoue is the clear favorite to win in this matchup. To me, he is a Swiss knife with a pair of 8-ounce gloves. Inoue is a complete boxer. He packs power in both hands. That distinguishable trait complements his agile movement in the ring. You know, he is a poetry in motion. He is a sight to behold. Why? Because he uses his incredible athleticism. He puts pressure on his opponents with his jabs, and then he puts together combination to create openings for that left hook to the body or that left uppercut to the midsection. Though he is still undefeated and hailed as the best bantamweight today, his mystique as an unstoppable force suffered a slight dent because of Nonito Donaire. It proved that he is human after all, and it put a chink in the armor. Donaire showed that the world that even if Inoue may seem to be invincible, he can get hurt. Could Janriel Casimero do the same? I believe so. I think so. Casimero is not a flashy fighter or a technically sound boxer. Let's admit that. But his awkwardness and unconventional approach could play, let me emphasize that, could play a factor, could at least pose problems on the part of Inoue. Casimero has the power to get the job done, but he has to hit the target and avoid wasting punches. As seen in the fight between Inoue and Donaire, Casimero should know by now that with the right precision and timing, he can hurt the Japanese. If Casimero wants to walk away with the upset, he has to force Inoue to play at his pace. In that manner, he can pick his shots, land the cleaner blows, and keep himself checked from committing mistakes and recklessness that will surely entice the Japanese. For sure, Casimero has watched the tape of that Inoue versus Donaire fight over and over again, probably taking notes, looking for loopholes. But that's Nonito Donaire. He has to remember that he is Janriel Casimero. He can take notes from that fight, but he has to rely on what he possesses as a fighter. There's one area of concern for me on the part of Janriel Casimero, and it's the jabs. In the Rigondo fight, he only landed 6 according to CompuBox. In the Micah fight, he didn't even land a jab. Casimero makes up for it by throwing the left hook. But he has to remember a jab is the most important punch in boxing. It can help a boxer dictate the pace. It can also help the boxer to control the distance. And against Naoya Inoue, he has to utilize every weapon in his arsenal. Every great boxer, what's at stake for Janriel Casimero? Every great boxer has a signature win. The only thing that is missing on his resume is sharing the ring with a high-profile name in the sport and winning against him. That could define his career as a boxer. This is what awaits Janriel Casimero. Will it happen? For sure, it will happen, but not later this year or early next year. One problem I see is that both men are fighting under two different promotions. This will likely be the hindrance. The impression is Bob Arum is willing to do business with everyone except for Al Heyman. Second, I think the people are now more invested in the drama created by the spat between John Riel Casimero and Nonito Donaire. And on a personal note, like Chief Dennis, I would like to see this first before the Inoue fight. So what are the other options for John Riel Casimero? The other option, of course, is Nonito Donaire. For the reason Richard Schaefer and Hal Heyman can see eye to eye. Second option for John Riel Casimero is Roshi Warren because they fight under the same banner. It also makes sense because Roshi Warren is number 4 in the WBO rankings. Third, it may be a long shot, but it will be a good matchup, is Luis Neri. If he wants to go back to bantamweight, this is the perfect matchup for him against John Riel Casimero, especially since he lost to Brandon Figueroa last May at 122. Plus, he and Casimero are under PBC. So these are the factors that I'm considering in the fight, and the possible fight of John Riel Casimero and Naoya Inoue. Chief, any parting shots before we end the segment?
Well, I really think maraming options, both fighters, and it seems that most of them are really marketable and made for TV. So it's turning out that it's going to be an exciting future for both Nonito Donaire Jr. and John Riel Casimero.